Hey, good morning, guys. It's Sunday morning right now. I'm trying to talk a little bit low. It's still pretty early in the morning. Um, I've got a lot to share with you about yesterday. In fact, when I do my morning videos, it's probably going to run long today because there's a lot to share with y'all, and I won't get it done in one video. But last night, late at night, when I was sitting down and going over my my journal, my book entries for the past week, I realized two things. One was I didn't give some of all the information I wanted to yesterday about a certain situation person I was speaking with, and I want to do that this morning. And then, if you remember the other day, I was having a problem sending publishing my YouTube videos, and I didn't have to, but I chose to re-record it a few times, thinking that was the issue. And in doing so, I left out some information about one person in particular that I'd like to talk about and recognize, because I think it's important for me to. This is about humanity and goodness and people reaching out, and the last thing I want to do is overlook somebody. So I may title this today's date, but I'm not going to title it a morning because I don't want you guys to think that's where it's at. I'm just going to title it something else. Okay, so I believe it's Sunday the 29th right now. Yeah, probably the 29th. But so a couple things I want to talk about before I even get into yesterday's family that I met and the people that I met, which was amazing. So yesterday I shared a story of somebody that reached out to me, which I thought this is exactly what this journey is about. The day before, this woman expressed an opinion that what didn't agree with the way I saw things. And there was some back and forth, as you often find on the internet, with people being supportive of me, people being supportive of her. And, the nice thing about it was it stopped right there. It didn't get into any kind of ugly vitriol. It was just a discussion. And then yesterday morning, I had a few emotional videos and trying to wrestle with some things in my mind. And I had said if anybody knows anybody in Chicago, I'm looking to catch a ride down to St. Louis and pick up my journey from there. And this woman, who had no reason to, could have easily turned her back on me and said this guy's a complete jerk because of the way she thought I came across. Didn't do that. Reached out and said, look, I researched it. It's about a $40 Greyhound ticket, and I'd be willing to get that for you. You may think I'm not a fan, but I really am. And then she confessed something else to me that whereas I'm reaching out and looking for kindness and compassion, she needs kindness and compassion. She's on the organ transplant list. And then I asked her a little bit of detail about it, and if I could share her story. And she educated me with things I didn't realize. And but I left a couple of things out yesterday when I brought it up. The first one is, which makes this really important for me and for her, and why I care even more than I normally would, is anything about me is with the kids. She has a 14-year-old daughter, and that's just. Again, I know what it's like to go through things when family is sick and suffering. So, and that's part of the reason why they won't even look at her husband as a possible donor, because God forbid something happened, this young lady would lose both her parents. So that eliminates the husband as a possible donor, who out of love I'm sure would be willing in a heartbeat. But so that was another reason. But the thing I neglected to mention was she had a Facebook page. So if you guys can do me a favor and at least go look at it, right? Give her that much respect. It's kind of a play on words. Keeping it renal. Okay, instead of keeping it real, it's called Keeping It Renal. RENAL. Melissa's kidney journey. So go take a look at it. I'll be doing the same, and see what you can do from there. And listen, I appreciate your feedback. Love you, and hopefully we can, find a way that when you drop below that 20% number, that pray for you and something good happens. Okay. The second thing is, and I'm not trying to minimize that, but I want to recognize someone that I overlooked when I re-recorded my videos the other day. So, if you remember my situation just a few days ago, I had spent a day with Pastor King in Dunkirk, and the way the story went the day before was how I got there. I didn't get a place to stay. That kind of fell through. The police came. They took me to a Love's truck stop. Well, at the Love's truck stop, I kind of parked in it had the truckers area, convenience store, and a Hardee's, and I kind of parked in the Hardee's and charged my phones and so forth. Well, one of the young men working at Hardee's was a gentleman named Earl, And Earl, was pretty cool to me that night. Didn't you know bother me too much while I kind of stayed out of his way and stayed out of their way. Later in the evening, when I was leaving Aaron from the truck portion, maybe a friend was outside, and the two of them were talking, and we were talking some sports, and Aaron said, "Come on, I'll give you a ride to get you closer to Dunkirk." And it was in the middle of the night, and that led to a whole other story um, leading to Ada. Well, what happened was, to make a long story short, which never happens with me, I make every long story longer. Um, I actually went past Dunkirk. So the next day, while I was closer to my destination, I was heading on Friday. I was past my destination on Thursday. So I actually walked back 12 miles to pass the King's house. Well, along the way, Earl had reached out to me, started following me, and said, "Hey, you might be, walking right by my house today on your way to Dunkirk. If you do, I'll look to take care of you with some water or something like that." And I had to kind of tell him, "Look, unfortunately, I'm actually going backwards the other way. I'm not going to be past your home." But I didn't hardly know Earl, but he certainly was, being very polite and willing to help. So as I started to get to thinking again, my journey isn't about the steps walked or the distance traveled, although it's kind of a neat story. It's about the people and the humanity that I'm meeting along the way. So it dawned on me as I walked those 12 miles and had met whoever I was going to meet, which again hasn't been a lot of people. I reached out to Earl and said, "Earl, would you happen to know it's important to get back to Lima on Friday, which is more than the typical 20 miles. It's like 25 each trek that I had to walk. And those extra 5 miles beat me up pretty good each day. You know anybody that can maybe get me back to Ada? I've already walked this portion of the journey tomorrow. Do you or anybody know?" And Earl said, "Well, I get off work at 6:30, but I'm pretty sure I could take you." So I said, "Look, that'd be great. I really appreciate that." So through the night, and I passed out, so I slept pretty soundly at Pastor King's, and having kind of had plans fall through the day before, I know how tenuous plans can be. People want to help, but then things come up in their own lives, and I understand that. So that morning early, I shot Earl a message and said, "Hey, if you're still available, let me know." And he said, "Oh, absolutely, I'm available. I'm getting off work here soon enough, and we'll go from there." So I got to get this thing off my hand. It's cutting the circulation off, it looks like. Anyway, I bounced all over the place. But so that morning, Earl came back, and I started walking towards Ada. I got up early, and Earl met me, and there was a mini mart in Ada. So he took me back to the mini mart. But along the way, I got to meet Earl and talk to Earl. And there were some things that I really appreciate other than the gesture. First of all, Earl's a really nice young guy into hunting and fishing. One of the things that I really found appealing to him, other than his willingness to help and his good nature, is when I say point the thumb, it means a lot of things to me alone, let alone to what anybody else means. But certainly it has that meaning to point the thumb before you point the finger. But I also believe in pointing the thumb at yourself and owning who you are. The whole world plays pretend out there, and wants to say things that they, or not admit to things that they are because somebody may laugh at them, it's derogatory or whatever. Well, in talking with Earl about his family situation or his family life, there were a couple of things that really struck me. One is he lost his dad early in life. His dad was 42. I can certainly identify with that. I lost mine at 44. So there's that part of the equation. But he has an older sister. His older sister's 13 years older. So with that age gap, while they love each other, they're not the closest folks. But what I loved about Earl was just I was asking about his passion and his joy and what he likes to do. and short of hunting and fishing and working, he basically just said, "I love my mama. I'm a mama's boy. I can't deny it. It's what I am." And I just thought that was so beautiful and honest in the way he said that, because not a lot of people would embrace being a mama's boy. He didn't have any reason to share with me. He could have postured and been, Mr. Macho Man. And I just really saw him in a different light when he told me that. So, and then the other thing that took place was, Earl certainly isn't wealthy or rich, and he picked me up and took me 12 miles back to Ada, which is probably a 24-mile round trip for him, maybe even longer. And we stopped at the mini mart, and I don't have a lot of money, but I said, "Earl, can I get you something to drink or give you a little bit of money for gas? I don't have a lot, but can I give you what I have?" And he wouldn't have it. He, like so many other people, he's like, "No, this is, I want to take care of you, Jim, and I believe in what you're doing." And so here's a guy that didn't have a lot, and even in that case, wanted to share with me. So Earl, you'll always be, in my heart, brother. You're a great guy. I apologize that I know I recognized you in my other video, but I somehow deleted that. I didn't mean to overlook you in any way, shape, or form. So, I know you have my number. I have yours. It's not about recognizing you. I know that's not the case, but I thought you deserved that. I appreciate everything you did. And again, if you guys can also go back and look at Melissa's Keeping It Renal, Melissa's Kidney Journey on Facebook. I appreciate you guys looking at that as well, and you can kind of see the backstory much better than I was able to kind of translate it for you. So it's Sunday morning. In a short while, I'm going to record at least I'm sure 2 videos about yesterday, because it was a really crazy special day, and keeping you guys updated. So I love you all. I'm probably going to name this kind of some kind of missed data kind of thing. All right, thanks.